Hello and welcome to the My DW podcast powered by Precision Hydration. I'm Rob Hansford and joining me today is not one but two guests, Pete Clarke and Iain Robert. For those of you that have been following our YouTube channel for a little while, you'd have probably seen them on our vlogging series last year. Guys, welcome. Bit of a different filming location today compared to last year's antics.
No, it's a lot warmer than being on the canal bank and currently, yeah. And thank you for having us.
Yeah, that's good. Good to be here. It's good to see you again, mate.
Yeah, and I mean, as I say, you two paddled the race last year, senior doubles. Different levels of experience, haven't we? So Pete, we'll come to you first. Obviously, your first one was 2015, was it?
2015 with my son, yeah. And last year was the number 7 in the series, so one more to go.
And how did you get into DW in the first place?
It's a long story. Way back in 1984, I had a girlfriend there called Jackie Gay, who was a Chippenham paddler, who was training for DW to do K1 that year, and I kind of flirted with the idea of doing it then. But I ended up joining the military, so I disappeared off for basic training. But I did bank support for her in 1985, and that kind of sparked an interest. But because of my career at the time, I never really got around to it. And then in 2015, my lad told me that my young son told me he wanted to join the Royal Marines. And I said, you haven't got what it takes. I said, but however, the DW's coming up. Let's have a go at that. And if you can crack that, then you've got the right mindset to perhaps pursue a career in the military. So that kicked it off. We joined Devizes in October 2014, which is when they traditionally start the run-up for the race the following year. And we trained once a week with Devizes and did the race in 2015, which was the first one. And he did amazingly well. And we had a great time. And I thought, I've got the bug now. And the 1,000 Mile Club then became a thing.
And is that what keeps you coming back? Is it the 1,000 Mile Club?
That is my main incentive, yes. But also, the paddling community is great. I like having something to train for in the year, keeps you healthy after the age of 50, something to go out and purposely train for. The Hasler series is fun. Devizes Club is brilliant. Did all 7 as a Devizes Club paddler. And I like the community, and I like paddling. It's a great hobby, it's a great sport.
Yeah, and Iain, obviously, you're very different, as we said. Last year, I believe, was your first attempt at senior doubles. How did you come across the race?
Well, as we said when we did the vlogs, I only started 3 years ago, so relative newcomer to it. And then I end up meeting up with Pete, well, because he's my neighbour and lives about 30 seconds walk from my door, and if that, and just then paddling Pete and Paul Fielding and the guys down at Langport, just got sucked into it really. And I'm an endurance athlete, as I said on the vlogs, and so I've done long distance running, cycling, that sort of stuff. So the DW appeals me because it was an endurance event. Yeah. And then I just stupidly the year before said to Pete, "Do you fancy doing it next year anywhere?" Yeah, he said, "I think you'll do it." He vetted me. Clearly,
it's very important that you choose your partner wisely.
And I understand that.
History of endurance events, you're a winner from the start. There is a mentality, the mental side of it is most important.
Yes, I mean, talk me through the sort of last year then. Obviously, through the race, how it panned out for the pair of you.
Well, I suppose really we'll say so the year before, 24. When we decided we were going to do it, so I think it was June time. Yeah, we sort of agreed we'd do it together, and then from August onwards, we just paddled K2 throughout up until the event. Didn't look at K1, which has not been good recently. It was paid back, and so the training was great. And we were just training 2 or 3 times a week, as we said on the vlogs. It would really concentrate on that, and then Pete did. And as I said on the vlogs as well, Pete did a lot of planning because he's done it so often. So it was brilliant. I didn't have to think about that. I just had to concentrate on getting better at being a paddler and just lasting the distance, really.
Yeah. So that's quite an in-depth question. The big one was the conditions on the day. Yes. Hardly any flow whatsoever, and an easterly headwind that was consistent and strong throughout the whole of the race made a big difference. And we ended up going an hour earlier than we expected to go and planned to go, and that was to make the tideway for the opening window at Teddington. So we went an hour earlier than that. And it's a good job we did because we had a few mishaps in the race. It didn't go completely swimmingly as we thought, although we did go swimming.
Well, no, God bless it. I mean, it's close.
Not those, but if we hadn't given ourselves that extra hour buffer, we could have been in jeopardy come the crunch part of getting through Teddington Lock. And a number of other teams, some notable teams, like one of the military teams, none of their paddlers just didn't make the blocking time because they didn't account for the wind.
Yeah.
So with regards to how the race went, it was grueling an event.
Yeah.
We had some fun times. We had some dire times. And we had an amazing support crew.
Yeah.
The feeding strategy was just beyond belief because one particular element of our support crew, and we'll name them, so Will and Juliet,
Juliet, yeah.
turned up in places along the course you'd never expect to see anybody. I've never eaten so much on the race before in my life. And having all that extra food probably was the saviour because paddling into that wind all the way was horrendous. It was hard. It was draining. It was just awful. In the overnight into the early morning stages, we had some interesting times. The big first event happened at Aldermaston. Oh no, we're in the very first port for this is Miguel Classic Dead Lead Syndrome. We paddled there at quite a good place.
Yeah.
When you get out of the boat, I kind of hopped out of the boat.
You were stood up and going in, get out, and I went under the undercut.
Yeah.
And I'm there going, oh,
Holding on. My paddle went in the river. Then not rescue him and rescue my paddle without jumping in.
Yeah.
And then it's Ministry of Silly Legs get up the slope. So we got a grip of ourselves for the rest of the race and went through this sequence with practice and it all got much better after that. But that was the first event. But the biggest one was Aldermaston Bridge. We hadn't been under it before in the workup except for once.
So let me cut in.
Yeah.
So the first we went under Aldermaston Bridge, we said we'll go under it. I got stuck just as we were coming out of the end. Right. So that was a disaster. So the next time we did on D, waterside D, we portaged it. What a sensible idea that was. So, come DW, what did we do?
Race,
we go under it again.
I went, we'll get under there, and we didn't get under there.
We were half and half out the boat.
We had to bail out of the boat here to get out because we jammed under the bridge. So it wasted a lot of time. We got wet unnecessarily.
Very kind crew came back to see how we
register our arms in different directions they should be going. So that made us laugh. I gave us a bit of a giggle and paddled on downstream after that.
It was fine.
Probably wasn't the event we thought it was. That was
No.
dead easy. All the known gods like Hambledon, Cookham, were no problems whatsoever.
No, not.
Until we got to Chertsey. And we were behind schedule because it was daylight when we got there and we planned to get to darkness. We got in over the island, put the boat in, jumped in and couldn't paddle off because it was so shallow. Yeah. So the flow, we were stuck with our rudder spasking and we were just sat there going, oh no, we snapped the rudder off. So we got out of the boat, no, it's good, paddled off. Yeah. And then it all started to unfold a little bit, didn't it?
Well, yeah, because
after that.
Prior to that, so we had an interesting kit change at Dreadnought.
Yes.
Because we were always going to stop and do a kit change at Dreadnought. It was going to be one kit change. We set off with the old thermal bottoms on, which would stay on the whole top. It was just changing from a lighter weight top to a thermal top. And we got the old Vycobi V-Cols, which we'd said on the vlogs, flipping great bit of kit. Yeah. It's get them on when you're wet. That was a challenge. I reckon it took me around 10 minutes to get it on. And that's with 3 people trying to pull it over my arm. So that was interesting. But we got it on and we got padded. And then came up to my core had started to go. And it felt, and I knew I was leaning back in the boat, which I shouldn't have been doing. But I was paddling all right, and it was fine. I was still making progress. But I got to a point where we're getting out the boat with the portage. Get out, I'd stunned on side and then just collapse. And this happened 2 or 3 times. I thought, this is a bit weird. Legs weren't hurting or anything like that. And so this happened. Then we had Chertsey, and then we got to Royal, and we'd always planned to portage
under Kingston Bridge.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Go on, sorry.
Yeah, so, sorry, joking. Came under Kingston Bridge, at last 1,800 metres down to Royal Canoe Race. The boat suddenly became virtually unpaddleable. It's unstable. I was support stroking.
Yeah.
We then started the very jovial discourse front and back. What the are you doing?
And I went, what? I completely...
and something had gone wrong. Yeah. So when we paddled into Royal to be met by our crew, me looking at their faces, looking at us, told me a story I didn't really want to hear. I climbed out the boat.
I fell out the boat.
He rolled out the boat.
I do. It's nice to get out there.
He was laying on the side in immense agony, going.
Well, it wasn't saying the leg, I was just lying there going, "Oh, I was knackered. I was so knackered when we got out. I'm just,
And our team were looking at us going, oh my God, this is it. It's Index. The race ended for you. But I had contingency planned for this because of I had an experience in 2017 paddling with Dan Colby, and we'd done hardly any paddling. So we just rocked up and cracked the race after like 7 paddles together. And my core went, and I was in absolute agony for the last 20 miles. And Dan pushing away and me laying in the back of the boat paddling, hardly paddling at all, we finally got there. So to prevent that ever happening in the future, I promised to do 2 things. 1, train correctly for the race.
Which
and
we did.
2, have something in our back pocket to help us should we ever befall a gone caught. So we have. It's a foam prop which sits behind the seat like that, and it essentially forces you to sit upright.
yeah.
We jammed it behind Iain. Well, first of all, our support crew tried to strap him into the boat thing, so we said, we're not doing that on the tideway. And I had that eureka moment of I remembered I put it in the car.
Yeah.
Alex charged off, got it, brought it back. We jammed it in. We then jammed Iain in, and he could sit upright.
Well, prior to that, he'd said, what the word you said to me?
I said, I'm getting cold now, should we get going?
So I went, yeah, okay.
And he went, yeah, right. So we jammed it, and we wobbled off from the side at Royal, and we're all over the place. And there were particular supporters there from Bradford and Avon laughing.
They're never going to make this. Because they looked at us lying there.
And I didn't think we were going to make Tennyson Lock at that time, but we paddled down to Tennyson Lock, and we'd got into a groove, and then we went through the rollers, and then we paddled off down the tideway. Probably shouldn't admit this, but we paddled on the right-hand side of the river against all the rowers. All kinds of insults being shouted at us, but there's no way we could stay in the centre because I almost at all, at any moment, we'd have fallen.
Yeah. And there was an understanding female 8 crew. I think the cock said, you shouldn't be there, you should be in the middle. And we went, we're too tight. If we fall out, and you went, fair shout.
Fair shout. So they understood why we're staying there, but then you picked up.
I did.
It's because we supported.
Yeah.
We then got back into a decent paddling stride. And I said, right, let's get back to the middle where the flow is. Not a lot of flow, but whatever flow. We got back to the middle and paddled on down. And after Barn Elms, the clipper boats were actually really well behaved.
Yeah.
They slowed down, so their wash wasn't too bad. Wind over tide made it quite bumpy, but the other river traffic were causing all the problems with the wash. So we had a couple of moments in the wash there, but we've just kept grinding it out, and we made our way down, and we got to the steps.
Yeah. Oh, but that last 100 metres to
the last 100 metres, though, when you got the safety boats blasting past, and you're going down that last row of boats, was a bit exciting.
There were a number of support strokes going in down there. It was the old, if we fall in, we're drifting.
We were drifting.
Yeah.
Well, it might have been a while because there's no flow, but we would have swam down. Seeing that bridge is just amazing. And, we just persevered and we got there. Our target time was optimistically being 20 to 21 hours. We got there in 23 hours 15. A lot of that was attributed to the headwind all the way and no flow, but also with delays and mishaps and regaining yourself and just added to the time. But we got to the end, and it was a good solid race.
And what you said, there's a really key thing at the start of that about changing your start time and going off earlier.
Yes.
Because for people that sort of might not have done the race yet or think about doing it, it's not entirely a race to Westminster, is it? The senior doubles. It's about reaching that tideway, and if you miss that window, you're stuffed. So constantly thinking about that tide window is sort of imperative, isn't it, as a strategy perspective?
Oh, absolutely, and this is where your bank support crew are really vital, because if you are paddling to a program, to a type of schedule, should I say, if you'll be way ahead of it or way behind it, they need to inform you.
Yeah.
Now, because we give ourselves that extra hours, we actually slowed down during the night because we thought we were paddling faster than we were. And it's just the optical illusion because it was dark. It was really dark. And they didn't tell us that we'd slipped behind our schedule by about 40 odd minutes.
Yeah.
But we'd given ourselves an extra hour. So as it turned out, we arrived at Teddington Lock right in the middle of the opening window. So we were getting there just as it was picking up what little flow there was. So we were quite lucky. But like I say, some of my good friends in one of the military teams who were going for really good times didn't change their start time, and they didn't make Teddington Lock. Well, and so that was them.
Because it was a significant amount of people who didn't make the cut-off, weren't there, I think?
Yeah.
I think.
It's a big number.
So you do really have to consider the environmental factors on the morning of the race and adjust accordingly. We went safe, so we went early. And as it turned out, yeah, it worked.
And Pete, you've done both senior doubles and the 4-day event, as we said earlier.
Yeah.
How do the two different events sort of compare? As I say, it's a different challenge, isn't it? Although, it's predominantly the same course.
So from my experience, the 4-day event physically is easier if you've done the training, because you're doing like 4 sprints. I say sprints. You're going hard for a lot shorter period of the day, maybe 6 hours. So the physical task of keep grinding it out is less. So that mental pressure isn't there. You're just going out and going hard. But it's hard from the support crew side because it's 4 events over 4 days. So you've got a team supporting each day. So that is difficult in itself. And the next morning, if you have paddled hard the day before, the first 10 minutes is you're relatively stiff and uncomfortable, but then you ease into it and carry on. So it's hard because the administration, the support is much more difficult over 4 days than it is for one 24-hour slog. But it is physically and mentally slightly easier. I prefer the straight through because you just get there, turn up, and you smash it. So having support crew is so much easier, and that's the hardest thing nowadays, getting people to support you year after year after year on this endeavour and quest. So I prefer to do all that, but the physical challenge is significantly harder. Doing it in one hit requires a lot more from your body and your mental fortitude to continue down the course than doing 4 reasonably long paddles, I think. But some of the people say that they thought the 4-day was hard. So it's probably a personal thing, but overall, I'd rather do the straight through than do the 4-day. But probably my next challenge might be a K1, because I haven't done a K1 yet, and do a K1 senior. However, they have just opened up today. The Endeavour Open.
Last week.
Last week? I saw it today. So last week they've opened up the Endeavour as a competitive race, so that's got some attraction. So rather than do a K1, I might jump into somebody else who doesn't want to do an overnight challenge and really go for it and see if we can get within 4 or 5 hours of the elite cruise, if they do compete. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and Iain as well, what was your, obviously we're just talking about your back, you were struggling with the second part, but what did you find the most challenging aspect of the race, and then how did you overcome that?
I don't know, because once you're into it and into the swing of it, it's just, there's a goal at the end of it, and you're going to do certain things on the way. And so, I don't know if there was a particularly difficult bit.
It was all just hard.
It wasn't all hard. No, it's oh yeah.
Yeah, peaks and troughs throughout the course.
Yeah, you always got highs and lows.
Highs and lows.
You've got a goal. The goal is to finish, and your mindset is to finish. And like I was saying, when we were at Royal and Pete says you get in the boat, it was that I didn't even question it. I just got back in the boat. We were either going to fall straight out again, or we were going to make it to the end.
Yeah, which is...
we always see full straight out.
Yes, which comes up to a very important point with somebody right at the start about choosing your partner. It's choosing somebody that you believe has the mental fortitude to keep going when it's getting really hard, uncomfortable, and it starts to go wrong. I said to Iain at the end of the race, we both shouted, I said, thanks for getting back in the boat, mate, because if you didn't get back in the boat, we would have never got it. And when we landed at Royal, we got out, there was a question mark as to whether we were going to get back in the boat. So, but we both have that mental, our image was walking up the steps at Westminster. So there's no way we were going to stop. If I had completely failed, broken the boat or something. But the mental side of it is more important than the physical side in some respects. And
I think
he was never not going to get back in the boat. So we got to the end. We just kept paddling.
It wasn't as though I couldn't paddle or anything like that. I just couldn't keep myself upright. And so chucking that paddle in, that put me in the position.
The seat mod.
Yeah, seat mod.
Well, that got us to the end, to be honest.
Don't get me wrong, my paddle technique, I mean, it's not the best anyway. It went downhill a bit. But then, as Pete said, we stopped 6 miles onto the flipping tideway.
Yeah,
and
back into
I did shut the whole load of food down at Royal as well. It all perked up again, and we were fine. Apart from the lumpy bits.
Yeah. I mean, that was
like anybody
said nice.
Those lumpy bits on the Thames where they supposed to go up and down. So
it's just about keep moving, isn't it? Keep trying to make some progress, even when you're going through.
And I'll be honest, having spoke to one of the other crews who are good friends of ours we paddle with every week, they got out twice going down the tideway, and I says, "Well, how did you manage that?" And he said, "Well, they need. And I said it wasn't about getting out. I said, how do you manage to get back in the boat? Given they were shad, and one of the other guys had his core had gone. He was in as much of a mess as I was. If he'd had that pad, he'd have been all right as well. But how did they get back in the boat? And that's all. It's all up there, isn't it? I'm getting back in that boat because you know what it's like getting in the boat from in the water. It's not the easiest of feats at the best of time, and if you're absolutely shattered,
So it's the mind game part. That's the other element of the physical effort.
Definitely, You can't teach anyone it.
No, you either want to do it.
You either want to do it or you don't. And don't get me wrong, there are times when we go doing our K1 in on the Parrot and doing races to places and stuff like that, and they go, and you want to try harder? I go, I can't, because I'm going to put myself in the water, and I can't make myself do it. Because I'm too scared to go for a swim. It's too cold.
It's this time of year.
But if I'm in a K2, I can bury myself. In a K1, I can't.
I mean, there was some competitors who didn't finish the race who were far superior paddlers to us. Who were far quicker to Teddington than we were. But they were beaten mentally. They gave up when they could have finished. So that's the other element of the challenge, isn't it?
Yes.
The desire to just keep going. Well, you're absolutely knackered. I've been bad, and in a bad way. So that's part of the attraction, I suppose.
If you're training for the ThruDark Devizes to Westminster International Canoe Race or any long-distance paddling event, you need to have your nutrition strategy prepared. Precision Fuel and Hydration provide education and products for events like the DW, and my go-to are their PF30, PF30 caffeine and PF90 gels. They taste clean and simple, they're easy to take on the move, and the amount of carb in each is on the front of the packet, so you can keep track of how much you're taking on. The PF90 even has a resealable top, which makes it perfect for long paddles. Their electrolyte tablet comes in different strengths, and for me, there isn't a better option out there for staying hydrated during a DW. Check out the link in our show notes to read Precision's guide on how to fuel and hydrate for the DW. And if you have any questions about your strategy, then you can also book in for a free video call with their team and talk it through with an actual human. So Pete, obviously you've got a bit of a military background to your career. I mean, and military is completely entrenched in the history of DW.
It is, yeah.
I mean, from your perspective, just how important is DW to the military and vice versa?
So, as a former Royal Marine, the Royal Marines have been involved in it from word go, really, from when it took off as a big sport. It is a big thing in the Corps. They want to race, they want to beat the Army. The Army have had a degree of success over the years. The Marines have had a series of periods where they were dominant as well. And it's a fantastic event to challenge paddlers who've never paddled before, because the majority of the Marine team are paddlers that form up in mid-January and do 10 weeks intensive training, which is predominantly skills-based training, learning the course, and then topping up fitness relative to paddling. And then they put team event in and go for it. And it ticks all the boxes for all those things you expect from a military person, endeavour, endurance, fortitude, determination, fitness, the team ethic. So it ticks a load of boxes. It gives 10 to 15 paddlers from the Corps a chance to break away from humdrum military training and do a good team event in what is a highly regarded endurance event within the Corps. My very last year in my long career in the Corps was in the Corps team. So that was the only year I did paddle with Devizes Club. I paddled for the Corps team because I wanted to do it at least once with the Corps. And it was just fantastic. That year was a really good year, 2022, as well for us, because we won everything. On the water side, we won the series there. We won Thames side series. The team won the military series competition. I was lucky enough to be in the top 3 boats from our team. And it was just brilliant, a great way to finish your career. But it is important because any arduous type of event or challenge is always appealing to the military, because it ticks all those boxes that the character and the essence of being, certainly a fighting soldier, a soldier. So yeah, it's really important. Plus also, you like to challenge the RAF and the Army as well. So there's a lot of service rivalry there, and sometimes we do very well against them, sometimes we don't. But of late, we've done quite well. But of course, you've got the folding boat challenge, which is a big part of the core team because of Cockleshell Heroes and Blimey Houseline. So, yeah, it's a big thing.
Yeah, and moving on to training, obviously both of you documented your training quite well last year through the vlogs.
Bored you all to tears.
You can never do enough training.
Yeah. Exactly. So, I mean, on that front, how often were you guys out in the water together? I mean, it's obviously quite convenient the pair of you live next door to each other pretty much.
Well,
so
yeah, well, it was 2 or 3 times a week, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never more than 3.
No.
We aim for 3, but never less than 2.
Yeah.
So
We'd have a couple of perhaps shorter ones, 7 to 9 miles during the week, and then at the weekend we'd go for a longer one.
yeah.
Nothing daft, sort of 12, 13, something like that, or 15 once, I think. We were doing night paddles.
Yeah.
But we're lucky. The River Parrett isn't far from us, and it was the conditions we were training on were not the conditions we had. It was flowing faster on the Parrett than it was on the Thames. So we had some interesting times there when we found ourselves in the middle of the field at night. We certainly weren't. If you look at a GPS trace,
And we're paddling across the field.
the GPS trace compared to an Ordnance Survey map, and there was a subtle difference. So that was good, and that was backed up with Thames paddles. We met up with a couple of guys from Bradford. Not Bradford, sorry, Devizes, what I'm about. Some away days up there. I think we did about
4.
we did Waterside D as a met. That's the only Waterside we did.
So, I mean, Tavi, 3 paddles a week, given that we're doing individual training outside of that ourselves, was enough. But within the week, we're probably doing 8 hours of fitness training throughout the whole of the week as well. So we went down and did the Thames, because I know it very, very well, having done it a number of times beforehand. We went down really for Iain to see the Thames, get used to where we're going. And from Aldermaston onwards, which is the darkest part, we paddled that a couple of times, just so that Iain was comfortable with the route and confident where we were, because there's some tricky sections there, and just to get on the Thames in flow. And as it turned out, come the day of the race, it's no flow, and it was the easiest conditions we'd ever paddled on the Thames.
Well, it was, because prior to that, it had been raging down there.
But it is important to if it's your first race, to be comfortable with the sections from Aldermaston onwards, all the way down to probably where you think you're going to be arriving in first light.
Yeah.
Do that at night. You need to do that at night so you're comfortable with it, because we didn't actually talk about it. But one of the funny things we saw, we'd gone through Shiplake, coming up to Sonning Lock. Now, Sonning Lock, because you come around the right-hand bend, the lock is just down there. You've got an island. If you go up the right-hand side of the island, you go towards the weir face. And if it's a fast-flowing river, that's a fast-flowing conditions, that's a bad place to be. We were approaching the left-hand side to come up the left-hand side of the island to take us down the lock cut. And there were a crew coming out from behind the island on the right, heading towards the weir. And what was bizarre was the rear seat person had what looked like a laptop in front of him with navigation information on. We spotted them because of that initially, and then I was like, but it was like, there's a paddler over there. And so we were shouting over to them, come left, you're heading towards the weir. And they eventually acknowledged that we were shouting towards them, and they turned left, and they skewed across the front there and came over into the lock cut. Now, if it'd been flowing fast, they wouldn't have done that. They'd been over the weir there. So the importance of knowing that part of the river at night, so you don't have mishaps and end up somewhere where you shouldn't.
I think it's really watching TV. Well.
I think they probably were from somewhere in the country where they couldn't get down and train here, but using an iPad in the back and a navigation tool, if that's what it was, it's a super bright light. I mean, he would have had no night vision.
No.
And at least they put it on the back paddler to give the front paddler. You could see where to steer, but they were in the wrong part of the river at that point. But we thought it was amusing.
It was
we
very.
were like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And that's the thing as well, isn't it? Of like, even when you know the river really well, if it's a really dark night as well, it can be really disorientating. You can still make mistakes even if you know it inside out, can't you?
You still do have moments where you're looking ahead and you go, is that the river bending right or left? Or which side of the island should I be on now? It's knowing which side of the island is probably the most important bit. And when you come up to the bits where you have an abrupt turn and you can't see the bank, you do have to be a little bit careful. Not so much on the Thames because there's lots of contrast and lots of vegetation, but certainly between Aldermaston and Bobney, just as you're coming up that last section where you've gone under the N4 and heading into Reading, there's some swirly bits there that Burfield, I think, coming up to Burfield. I mean, in 2022, I was paddling with my partner Mike, and we didn't even see the right turn. We ran aground at the bank. We just went boom up the bank. Oh, almost capsized. Back paddling. Oh my God, didn't see that. So there are places where you really do need to know where you're going, or you just have a big bright light on the front and accept that you won't have any night vision, and you're relying on what you can see from a big torch, which is not what we normally do. We normally have quite a small light on the front, and we use night vision. But there are pros and cons to that. If you're racing along really fast, like Keith Moore and
Tom Sharp,
they had a big light because they were going fast. They wanted to see the bridges and stuff when they came to them straight off the bat. But so, yeah, if you don't know the river well, I'd have a big bright light on it so you can see where you go, and just accept you've got no night vision. If you do know the river well, it's probably easier to paddle with subdued light on the front and rely on night vision. Although on 2022, when we were on the Thames early morning, it was foggy. You couldn't see. You were looking at buildings and trees above the fog line to see where you were in the river as it's travelling. That was quite funny. But thankfully, it was daytime by then, so it wasn't that bad. But, that's the perils of each year. It changes so much. You can have drastically different conditions. One year, high flow, super duper, clear night, not cold. Next year, no flow, freezing cold, dark night. It's just the luck of the draw. And I believe this year's an early one, isn't it?
It is.
2027, so it's best of luck.
Yeah.
I'll be sat there supporting for the bank this year.
And Iain, I mean, as we said earlier, you're a keen runner, keen cyclist. How did that help you when it came to training? Obviously, first time round for you. Yeah. How did that help?
It was easy to slip into a training, and in fact, I was probably getting more on at Pete saying, right, when we're doing some long stuff, because I wanted to make sure I was capable, and the only way I know of doing that is to go out and do some long training sessions. Don't have to go mad on them, but just to get the distance. Now I know people argue you don't have to go too far all the time, but it's just it's a tick in the box for me to know that I'm capable.
Mental tick,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's why we do Waterside D.
Yeah.
For a number of other reasons, but also the confidence thing.
Yeah.
And
we did well. I think we won our category in that one, actually.
Well, that was a question I was going to ask. Why didn't you do the other watersides?
I'll defer to Peter.
It's a combination of real life events getting in the way, and I've got I've got a knee that isn't as robust as it was. Sometimes I sit there and wonder why I want to do 100 portages on a course, of which you're going to do the first quarter of DW. It's that course, the Waterside D course. So we decided not to do all of them because of real world commitments elsewhere. And if you can't do the whole series, just choose the ones you should really do. I believe you do Waterside D. If you're not carrying an injury, do Waterside D, because it's a proving ground for other things. And also, my knee was killing me, so I wanted to limit the amount of portages we were doing, because Waterside A through to D, it's a lot of portages. And if I was being brutally honest as well, you only did D once, but by the time you've done the first 35 miles on the race, you're like, thank God I don't have to see that part of the river again. Or the canal in that case. So keeping it fresh and minimising the damage to my knee. Any wear and tear on my knee was probably more considerations, but we did want to do the long one.
Yes.
And mainly for you to feel warm and fuzzy that I can do that.
But I mean, our longer training paddles had been various sections of the canal anyway. Up to and past Reading. So we covered it, but at a different time.
As we've been hearing throughout all of this series, people have got different takes on what they do for sort of their nutrition and hydration. Yeah. What was your take? How did you go about that?
Well, all I can say is it was a completely different strategy this year for me with regards to the main foodstuffs. We went for baby food type stuff.
Yeah.
And one of Ian's creations from his former days, and it worked amazingly well.
Yeah, well, I mean, on one of the vlogs, I don't think we actually used some of that footage but I sent one to yourself, and I was mixing up. And we did 3 different ones, and don't ask me to remember which ones I did in the end. One was peanut butter based, one was sweet potato based, and there was another one. But basically, as Pete said, it was a liquid fuel, so it was almost baby food. So I just put it in the liquidizer, ground this stuff down, made it easy to drink because I bought some pouches. In fact, they were baby pouches. Just topped them up, and it was just, here's a pouch, and you could get it down your neck. So it's already it's broken down for you, so your stomach's not having to work hard to digest it. And we used those, and they were
really
easy,
calorific,
yeah,
and you could glut it down really quickly.
Yeah.
Rather than constantly chew with a dry mouth that you can hardly swallow. And we mixing lots of other food stuffs as well.
Yeah.
And as I said before, we were overfed on this race compared to previous years for myself. I've never eaten so much, which was good. But we didn't have to rely on gels until quite late.
No.
This liquid fuel that we used was brilliantly, which is a shame because you've got precision hydration here, which I never used before. But last year we did the Thames 200 Ultra, and I purposely only used that fuel to pound my way down a third of the course because we did it as a relay. And it's brilliant. The chewy gums you got there, these chewable carbs are just amazing. They're really tasty. I overdosed on them at the start.
It was bouncing off the walls before we started.
I ate 3 or 4 before we even started, and they're tasty. They provide you a really good fuel source. The pouches were great, and I used their rehydration stuff, and I also used their energy source at each of the fuel stops, and just used that. It was brilliant. I had no problems whatsoever. I did have the odd muffin here and there, but nearly all of my energy was taken from precision hydration. So yeah, before that I'd been using various other products, but I'd definitely consider using certainly their powder and these carbs, these chewy gels, because they're really tasty and they're easy to eat, and they give you a lot of calories. Yeah. Which is what you want.
And what did you do for the night then? Did you just keep on the, obviously, as you say, like the
it was a mixture throughout the whole race. We had all sorts of we had corn nuggets and stuff like that.
So quite a lot of savoury in there, so we didn't get overloaded by I couldn't face another sugary type thing like another jello. When we took the gels, they were great, but we had, like I say, a whole array. But that baby food was great, and during the night, our crew. Our support crew were giving us hot drinks in bottles around the corner, which is just so welcome because it was quite cold.
It was, yeah. We had soup,
and soup as well, and we had rice pudding.
Rice pudding
It boiled just to give us. That was probably not going to give us any nutritional value for the last part of the race. Although it did take a while going down that part of the river, it was just. That was nice. I needed that.
To be fair though, that last stretch from Teddington, we weren't the slowest crew doing that, given our condition.
Whereas you weren't as bad as we thought we were.
No, not at all.
So fueling worked really well with that type of food stuff. Previous DWs, I've just gone on gels and bananas, and by the time you get to Dreadnought, you're like going, oh my God, I couldn't have another gel, and you then go on to something else, but it worked really well.
Yeah, because in fact, talking about that, so we had camelbacks on, or bladders, whatever you want to call them, and we had the old. I was using a particular brand of what do you call it, like the fuel stuff, which was great. Tailwind. But even though that is really good stuff as well, don't get me wrong, you still get to a point where you just had enough of drinking it, and so get chocolate milk, coffee milk.
Yes.
Because that's easy. Puts a nice layer on the stomach as well.
You get acid reflux. That's too many sugary calories. So I was also drinking little protein milkshakes.
Yes,
right. Okay.
Quick to get down. So a different form of fluid rather than just drinking water or coffee or sugary stuff. So
It's nice having a hot drink on your back, isn't it?
Absolutely.
A hot drink at night is a pick me up, especially when it's loaded with caffeine. A hot Java lava coffee, eyeballs wide. So it was good. Yeah, it was good.
That was not
It's those kind of things, isn't it? It's all personal to everybody, isn't it?
And the key is to explore before the race on the long paddles. We didn't generally fuel on the short ones, did we? But no, on the longer ones we did, because you've got to get some kind of strategy going to see what's going to work for you. Otherwise, it just make it harder than it needs to be.
In fact, Dee was also testing around for our crews. Well, one of the crews. Lily and Alex. Yeah, Lily had never even paddled before, but she had decided she'd want to help her silly old man do some other ridiculous event. And so her and Alex, who her Pete had done DW with in the past.
Absolutely critical to getting you through the sport crew.
Yeah.
So that was Tess for Lily, Tess, just to see how it worked. So and it was great. And so then them combined with Will and Juliet on the day of the race was fab.
That's the thing, you really can't finish the race without your support crew, can you?
No, absolutely not.
If it's going bad, definitely not. If it's going swimmingly well, your time will just be better than it would be if you've got a really efficient support crew supporting you. Yeah, but you need them, because apart from anything else, they're a fresh set of eyes observing how bad you can get. I mean, we were in a bad way when we got to Royal, and a less forgiving support crew would have probably pulled us out there. But they didn't, and they let us go on. But they did actually judge us and say, yeah, okay, they're good to go, which is a safety thing. Because the year before, one of our other paddling boats at Langley, they were in a particularly bad way, and they wanted to press on, mental fortitude, two ex-Royal Marine paddlers, and their support crew pulled them off the water to save them from themselves. And they wouldn't have made it to the end by their own admission, because they were absolutely done by that stage. They'd fallen in 5 times. No spare kit, freezing cold, rudder broke, 2 wires.
Was it Cookham, wasn't it?
Cookham, having a complete disaster, almost went down the weir of Bolters because they couldn't steer, because their steering was shot. Pressed on to the next portage, and then it all grew slower. They were looking worse and worse, and they got pulled off. But they wanted to continue, so there's a safety element there from your support crew as well, I suppose.
What sort of tips and tricks of the pair have you got for anyone that's kind of thinking of having a go at the race?
I mean, it's all been said before. The important thing is join a club and learn from people who have done it before. Absorb that knowledge. Keith Will said there's no volume training. Do a lot of training for your first one. More time in the boat, as much time in the boat as you can, boat handling skills, because you just never know what the conditions are going to be on the race. And to be allowed to start the race now in today's safety legislation, you've got to be a competent paddler. So boat handling skills, train with a club, find the right boat, and be realistic on your planning for the race, because now the windows at Teddington are so much shorter. They used to be about 4 and a bit hours, now an hour and a half. So it's even more critical to get that piece right, and get a good support crew with you to take you down your journey. Because they will get you to the end. If you're still getting into the boat, they'll get you to the end.
It's the 7 Ps, isn't it? Prior planning prevents particularly poor
poor
performance.
And really, and
get the right partner as well.
Also make sure, that you're mentally attuned to knowing, accepting the fact that it's going to be uncomfortable at times, and just keep going, just keep paddling if you can.
I think you've mentioned it a few times, but picking the right partner is actually probably a really key element, isn't it? Because of how far you're pushing your body and psychologically as well. You're going to have times where you're not getting on in the boat, but it's how you can kind of let that kind of go over your head a little bit, isn't it? And not take it personally in the moment.
That's quite, absolutely. Well, I think it's quite funny, because you see people chatting away. We didn't really chat. We were just really concentrating on what we were doing. I mean, when I say concentrate, not tunnel vision concentrate. Just I'm paddling here.
Focus.
I don't need to talk. We talk before we get to a portage, because Pete knows them all a lot better than I do. I know we did a lot of time, and during training he used to go, "Where are we getting out this side?" And we going, "Right hand side." Pete went, "Yes." "Where?" And so it's what we're doing at this one. We're going in on the right. Yeah, we're going early. We're going late. Yeah, where's the boat going? Shoulders? Not. We didn't have a pump in the boat, so generally the boat was always going on the shoulders to empty out. If we'd been on, if there'd been a particularly long, a 4-mile stint, you're going to get water in there. People advocate having a pump. Paul Fielding. Why haven't you got a pump in the boat? Too heavy.
It's funny, isn't it? And sometimes you talk a lot. There's long periods of just silence, because you just concentrate on the task. And on the darker phases of the night, I was concentrating on trying to see where I was going on the river, so I wasn't really talking. But then you do strike up a conversation. But it's all, how you're feeling at the time. But you're absolutely right. You do need to make sure that the person that you're going down the course with is going to be mentally determined to stay just keep going, because it's dead easy to give up when your body gives up way before your mind gives up way before your body does. Sorry, you can always keep that body going if you're mentally prepared to keep going.
I think
You do have to finish with your partner, so
chop the boat off.
so we never had any upsets or anything like that.
And I think the thing is, I think with similar characters in that, even if when you're in the depths of despair, you're going to smile and laugh about something. There was, You're going to pretend. You're going to pretend. You're just going to pretend.
When you were in deep depths of despair, I was laughing. Yeah.
I got out of the boat and just collapsed on my phone. Oh, that's a bit strange. Never mind.
That's a big part of it. You definitely
Just get up.
need somebody that actually you can sit in a boat for 24 hours with as well. Because if you can't, then you ain't going to get down the course when it starts getting hard. But that's all ironed out in the training that you do beforehand, or you like to think it is.
Yeah.
But we were bombers, weren't we? We was always going to get there. The boat would have had to snap in half, or would have to be dragged off.
We'd have to break.
Because that's the psyche we have.
Yeah. It was never a case of not finishing. We knew we weren't going to win it. We know that.
It's the challenge for us.
It was just absolutely. It was just the endurance, the long distance challenge. Pete for his 7th time, me wanting to make sure he did his 7th time.
So you'll be walking over again.
I'm not wanting to look around the or walk.
Joking aside, no. I mean, like I said, if you didn't get back in the boat, we wouldn't have got to the end. So really important.
Yeah, well, I think that's a great note to end on. So thanks for joining us for this episode.
No, thank you.
And we will see you again in a few weeks' time.